Happy New Year. It's January the 9th, 2023. It's the Lunch and Learn, and we are so excited to get started up again. Seems like 100 years since we got to visit with you last time. Tony Woodard, Chief Mechanical Inspector for the state, as always, is here. And before we get into the topic, I want to say one more time, I know everybody gets tired of it, but I want to say one more time how much we appreciate everybody from the secretary all the way down to the inspectors and the department over there at Labor and Licensing, because we are, as far as I know, we're the only state doing anything like this, and that there are some other states who are wanting to follow this example. But I mean, we are so blessed in the state of Arkansas to have a regulatory agency that actually considers himself to be our partner instead of our adversary. And that partnership concept is so important for us to be able to do a good job of serving Arkansas consumers. Tony, welcome to an exciting session of continuing education.
Well, I'm glad to be here, Tom. I hope everybody had a great holiday and looking forward to the new year.
Absolutely. Well, we're going to get started on the continuing education, I think. So before we get started on the details of this continuing education program, one of the things that we need to remember is that this is a difficult thing to do. Why? Because it's new. It's not going to be hard a year from now. Tony, this is just going to be like taking a breath of fresh air. It's not going to be a big problem at all.
Yes, it will be. It'll streamline itself.
First off and foremost, why don't you address this screen, Tony?
All right. It is in effect now. And any individuals, we've had several on the phone that say they're not aware of this. It's new to them. Oh, I hope everybody's not living under that rock like that old commercial we used to see. We are now on board with Oklahoma, Tennessee, Texas, and our surrounding states requiring the continuing ed. 4 hours required. You have to provide the certificates to renew the license as of now.
Absolutely. You know, we've been saying that it's coming, it's coming, it's coming. And we've had 2 or 3 programs where we talked about it in some degree, sometimes pretty much in detail. But now then it's here and we all have to live with it, like it or not.
Proof. It will be a certificate. So be sure if you do your online training, you have a good email address for them to email that certificate. That is what you will upload into an email at the current time before we get to ELP. The ELP at that point will allow you to pay online and just upload all your information at that point. We're looking for June 1st with that. But you can still renew online and then submit your tickets to either my address or Amanda's right now until we get to that point. But that's going to be your proof.
I feel so badly for Amanda. That poor lady was overworked before this started, and now I just don't know how she handles it. But I appreciate the fact that she maintains such a good attitude when she deals with the folks.
She's doing the work of what they had for at 88. So I'm thankful to have her, I'm telling you.
So you must have proof of continuing education. And one of the things that Tony, I tell people all the time, when somebody says, oh, we're going to have continuing ed, and they say, you can come to this class, ask them what that approval number is, because good guys can say, yeah, I'm going to do it, meaning that they're going to get around to getting approval from y'all. But, you know, people get busy, never quite get it done. And then somebody goes to the class and it's not approved for continuing ed. So ask them what that number is, and you'll know that they have gone through the hoops to make it be approved.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. Because it does have to get approved through the board. It comes to our department. We vet it. We look at it. They look at it. It does have to get approved and signed off by the section manager as well as myself. And then we'll respond back to that individual trainer with their provider number that is required, as there's certain things required on that certificate: license number, name of the individual, provider number, location, so forth. But yes, please do ask to make sure you have a approved CEU number.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, you were talking about there's certain things that are required. This is a good time for me to apologize to a lot of people. I thought I was doing everything just right and found out that I was leaving some stuff off that certificate. In fact, we were delivering a transcript instead of a certificate. So we had to have, you know, all new certificates reissued from the association for those people that went to the expo. And fortunately, we were able to get that done. But in the meantime, we appreciate everybody's patience that they kind of hung with us and forgave us. Continuing education, what's required?
Okay, 2 hours code, 2 hours tech, if you attend a class and they're doing ACA Manual D and J, that is code as well. You might attend a class that has Manual J training as well as technical in one day. So don't be confused, but the 2-hour code, it can be fuel gas code. It can be mechanical code. And there's several facets of mechanical code. You can just go to a Cat 3 furnace and it can be a 2-hour training on proper ventilation of the concentric kits. That is code because it is required certain ventilation requirements, especially with your 98% of furnace, fluid furnaces, what's required. And for those of you that have put them in the last month with the 0 degrees, you are clearly learning why it's critical on the manufacturer's instruction. We're learning a number, and that number is 18 foot. You're venting something 18 foot, and with a concentric kit, it's going to freeze up because it's bringing in such rapid cold air. It's cooling that thing off, and your collector box is going to freeze up rapidly. So, but let's get this education, and hey, I'm getting it. We all get it on a daily basis. We don't think about the education till we're deep in the woods with it, but it's important. And I think I already know it's moving our industry in the right direction for the folks that have jumped off and got out of our industry by just turning their license over to us because they didn't want this. So that's already made our industry better. So we're getting there. The tech, you'll get those at your distributor. That could be your motors, your efficiency. There's several on the tech side, but guys, we're talking about 4 hours a year. This is a piece of cake. It's going to be
Absolutely.
easy. Yeah.
Okay. What is tech?
Okay.
You sort of explained that already, but maybe a little bit more.
Okay. Tech will be anything from, your NATE training to theory of heat, your electrical training, anything in there where you're learning the processes of how to troubleshoot. A good troubleshooter, if he's got the information while he's driving his van to that job site, as the technician gets this information, taking it in their head, they know a lot of times when they get there, where to go, what to look. Anything you're learning in your trade schools or your distributors training you in the new equipment, the new ductless, mini splits, any of that falls under your tech side. How to read meters properly, how to charge a unit properly. All that is in the tech side of it. And then it will count towards the continuing education.
All right. Good sources of tech. Distributors are an excellent source. I tell people all the time, the absolute best tech training you can get will come from the people who sell you your equipment.
Absolutely. And they're coming on board. They want to provide. And what I see in the industry is these distributors, they want to provide this continuing education. That's less parts and callbacks on them. It's more boxes that can be moved, and it's word of mouth that, hey, we got a distributor down here. Not only are they standing behind your product, they're keeping us educated on the new equipment coming out, keeping us educated on code. It's a win-win for everybody all the way around.
Well, if there's a logic behind why we needed continuing education, it was that, there's a lot of good guys out there that just never would slow down and go to their distributor and get training on the equipment that they were buying and installing and servicing. And they were the ones that just didn't have the information, and they just were making big mistakes out there in the field. So now then, everybody's got to go in and everybody's got to have a certain modicum of training, and it's going to be so much better for the consumer. And absolutely, as you said a while ago, everybody. Plus, there'll be special classes. The association offers J, D, S, ductile envelope testing, duct testing, and then there's online. Talk about that, Tony.
Right. The two, and you informed us that y'all have one coming online. I'm waiting to get that information. We'll get that vetted as soon as we can. We do have All-Star and Rocket, and I believe both of these are at about a $60 clip to get your 4 hours. Those two are already on our website. Well, by the end of the day today, they'll be on our website. We do have the provider list of the 26 approved training. Those two, and as you mentioned, we are getting one from the HVAC Association to be on there hopefully by 1st of February, correct?
Yes, sir. That's correct.
And then we'll have 3 online that you can, and some individuals are extremely busy and just right now can't step out. It's and the way I understand how this works from one of the individuals told me about the rocket. I think it just looks like Amazon. You have a little shopping cart up there, you buy it, it goes over there, and he had a certain amount of time frame to finish it. He could take a little bit, stop, take a little bit, and then they email him the certificate, and he's approved.
Yeah. You know, another area for getting continuing education is your local college. I hope that the colleges step up and realize that so much of what they're already doing will qualify for continuing ed. They just need to go to the trouble to send you that little simple one-page application to get them approved. And then the people who took those classes, either the ones that they're already offering or maybe some that they offer just kind of like in a seminar basis, will be able to get their continuing education. And I'd love to see that happen because we need to be in there supporting those local institutions and letting them know what we need, because we need people badly, and they're probably the best place to get that initial training.
Yes, sir.
All right. What's code? We mentioned it quickly, but let's do it again.
Yeah, code, fuel gas code, mechanical code. There's a big gamut of what goes into that. I mean, I didn't even mention gas sizing, gas piping, proper gas piping, gas shutoff valve, proper gas connection, the flue venting. There's several things that can be in. I know Johnstone Supply is doing one in just strictly chapter 5. That's your dryer vent, bath exhaust, kitchen exhaust. They're doing a 2-hour on the venting systems of those. So there's a big, large area that can be code. Don't be thinking it's just I'm going to sit there and look at document language. No, it's hands-on training. It's some good training. It really is.
Reason I was laughing about that one that Johnstone's offering on the bathroom vents and the dryer vents is that's one of the ones that is such a head scratcher for us in our industry, because we're just now realizing that that's part of the V in our name. Right. And all the things that are there. I mean, there's so much to learn. John did one of those on that topic for the association for our expos over in Forest City. And he had a good turnout of people needing to learn about that.
Awesome. That's great. It's funny that we've been in this industry, you and I, before gray hair, before all that, and the builders wanted this, and now it fell into their lap, and the builders could actually do their own bath exhaust dry, and they're like, nope, we don't want to do it. I said, okay, fantastic, but you're gonna have to pay the mechanical guy to do this, and the mechanical guys have got to step and go, this is what I charge. And
that'd be a good training for somebody to take.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And again, you can get it from your distributors, the association, online, from colleges. There's just going to be a plethora of places out there. I know that some of the distributors have told me that they're don't want to do code because they don't want to be in a situation where they teach something and maybe made a little mistake, and they had dealers go out and install it the way they said, and then all of a sudden it doesn't pass, and they're not really excited about getting that kind of responsibility put on them. But others are saying, hey, we can do that. We do it all the time anyway, because we pull out the instruction manual on the equipment, and that sort of supersedes everything. So
simple duct layout class, okay, we're undersizing return. Let's take our Hart & Cooley or our Kruger map and let's match up our filter grill to the proper size. If we're having a 2-return system, that's code training, and it's hands-on, and absolutely a distributor's key role in that.
Here's kind of some confusing things that people need to understand. I get these kind of questions a lot, and it's, like in this particular one, when you take a class, and if it's got, well, let me just use the association example. We did the blower door manual, the blower door and duct blaster classes. There was, 14, 16 hours tied up in it. And they said, well, why aren't you giving us more? And my comment to them was, we're not giving you more because there's only 2 hours for technical and 2 hours for code. And that's what we're giving you 2 hours for having come here for these 2 days, because we don't want to mislead you into thinking that, for example, if it was 16 hours, that you just did 4 years worth of continuing ed.
Right.
So we limit the number that we give you, even though you feel like you earn more, because we don't want that confusion going into your next license renewal, thinking that, well, I took 16 hours last year, I won't have to take any this year.
So when we approve those numbers, there's a fixed amount of accredited hours for that. So as Tom mentioned, like his say 22-10 CEU. All right, that's going to be in our system, whether it's a 4-hour or 2-hour class, and that's all it's going to recognize as we approve these. So, and I get the training it is a 2-day. It makes you bring out the old math skills, and it brings out the synapses a lot quicker. And it's a very good class. I sat through it. It brought my head back into scratching, and I'm like, yeah, it's a very good class. But that's a very well presented deal. It is. Each class, there are some CEU numbers that are strictly a straight 4-hour dedicated CEU, but that's a very good point. That's what, make sure you look at that and ask, hey, what is this CEU? Is this a 4-hour CEU to where I can get it all, or is it a 2? Very good point, Tom.
All right. Okay. We got 3 slides here that show various, well, in fact, all of the providers as of January the 6th, when you sent them to me. You can find all of these on the website over there at the Department of Labor and Licensing, probably sometime starting tomorrow. We hopefully will have it on our website and try to keep it updated as well, because you need to know who's offering this stuff. The only thing I would mention to you, and we say it right up here on the top of this, is that some providers only supply to their dealers because they only got so many hours in the day.
Right.
If they've got 200 dealers, they can't teach 7,500 people.
That's right. That is right. I know they're expanding, and they're wanting to provide for all of the employees as well. And I think further down the road, as we get more locations, more providers, it will happen that way. Our 14,000 strong licensed and registered, we can get them all in there. Right now, we're trying to get the almost 8,000 license holders renewed every year. I know it's going to get bigger and better for everyone, but we're learning to do this as well as they are learning. As you said, we learned on our certificates. We had some hiccups, but it's a learning process for all. But change makes you learn, and it makes you better, really and truly.
Yep. Yeah. So anyway, that's going to be available for you on the Department of Labor and Licensing website. We will have this available on our website. But it'll probably be tomorrow for both of those. Is that right?
That's correct. Okay. That's correct.
All right, I know that nobody's going to write this down, but here's a website for approved CEU providers. It's pretty long, and I don't know any way to shorten it if you want just to write it down and go directly using this. But by tomorrow, it'll be much easier to access.
Yes, tomorrow it'll be labor.arkansas.gov. It'll be shorter.
Labor.arkansas.gov. Let's say that again. If you're looking at writing that thing down, and labor.arkansas.gov, and I will add this to this slide presentation before we put it up on YouTube today.
That's right. And once you open up our homepage, the individuals, the hard hats, shaking hands, you just click licensing, and that'll bring you down to your box of all our departments. And then you'll have the HVAC box. Yeah. You click on that, and that, as you scroll down, it will bring you to that. It will show you the CEU providers, and we're going to have that application on there as well.
By the way, when you get to that labor.arkansas.gov, it's the middle column, 6 rows down.
Yes, sir. That's where she is.
And of course, I tease about that all the time, about how far down you got to go. But it's there, and we appreciate it.
You got to scroll down a little bit.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
For those of you who want to offer continuing education, you might be a college instructor out there that wants to do it. You might already be with one of the distributors and want to do it. There is also an application for a CEU course approval. And this is what, Tony and that department has made available. So you want to get, you see how short that is? It's not like you've got to rewrite, a book. You have to include the outline, the course syllabus, who this instructor is, that kind of thing. But it's awfully simple. And I tell people, don't worry about getting approved. Just do the good job you've always done, and they're going to approve it.
Right. We will approve it. I want to, Mr. Yarborough, read your Q&A there. If you would give me a call, 501-580-9641, I can discuss that with you. That phone number, 501-580-9641. I was looking at the Q&A down there trying to answer one of them for you.
I got you. Let's see. Well, I'll let you do that because I've got two hands and three
I
or four
see that.
things
You
I
got-
need to be doing, Tony. So
We had 85. To my recognition, that is the largest we've had on our Lunch and Learn.
yeah.
An
And
active live, yes.
by the way, let me say to the people, we send these notices out. If you don't care, it's so easy on our notices to click unsubscribe. You don't have to go through 2 or 3 pages of trying to dig down to unsubscribe. We make it big. Constant Contact is really serious about that. We don't want to impose on your time, but this is super important. You'll never get anything from the association that isn't really relevant to you and your business. But if you just get too much stuff, you don't like my bald head, whatever it is, you just click on unsubscribe and we'll send you an apology and take you off that list because we do not want to impose on you or your time. But I don't know how you're going to get away from needing what was covered today in this Lunch and Learn. Tony, questions, compliments,
Question.
complaints?
No, it's a great slide presentation. I appreciate it. And I want to, for those that are watching, spread the word. We're going to go over this flue venting on Cat 3 furnaces. We do have, whether people believe it or not, we do have days that get to 0 in Arkansas. And these units in the attics, it's a problem. And we're going to discuss that on our next Lunch and Learn. I believe it'll be the 13th of February, if that's the correct date.
I've been hearing from dealers even around Central Arkansas that literally, not exaggerating at all, hundreds of calls came in after that evening where it dropped down to like 1 degree or something or other. And we got to figure out, because people need higher efficiency, but people also need for their units to work when it's cold. So hopefully we'll cover that next time. Tony, I want to thank you so much. Tell Lindsay and all the folks over there at Labor and Licensing how much we appreciate them. And we recognize that this is a unique opportunity for our industry to be able to connect to our regulators. And we don't, I don't even think of you guys as regulators. I think of y'all as our friends and our partners. And I think once our guys meet the inspectors out there in the field, that's their attitude too, because they're working together to serve the public. Appreciate you, sir. And I guess we'll be ready to go again in February.
Yes, sir. We will. And I will see everyone then. And Tom, we appreciate all you do for us.
Thank you so much, folks. We will see you in February, or at least I hope we get to see you in February. Have a great January. Bye now.